What's going on, guys? I'm Cash with CashedOutCars. Welcome to episode 3 of the Kart build. Now, in this episode, it's basically a continuation of installing the body onto this Kart. And in this specific episode, we're going to be installing this driver's panel onto the Kart. Let's get started. So this thing is going to be mounted about right here. And what we need to do is run some metal bands that go from that hole right there over to that steering column mount right there. So I have some that are on this bumper that are already cut. I don't think the length is really going to be right, but I'm going to pull them off and get them on the cart just to see how they're going to work. Alright, I got those mounts off and they fit right onto this nose piece here because they were already drilled. So I just have them tentatively installed here. So if I hold this driver's panel up to where it'll mount on the steering column mount, it looks actually really good. I would like it just a little bit more far forward like that, but if I can make these bands work and just mount it right there, I'm going to do it and see how it looks. Alright, so these are going to have to be drilled out. I got to just open up those holes just a little bit there to accommodate for that bolt, so I'm going to zip through that right now, and then I'll show you how it mounts right on there. Alright, they're opened up, and now it's time for a rough fitting. I will have to bend them a little bit no matter what, because right now they're not going to line up square with that bracket, but I'm going to send it and see how it fits for now, and then adjust that later. Alright guys, here's what it looks like initially. I did end up bending these a little bit before I put it on at all, so it does actually fit fairly nice right now. From the front, it's just a tiny bit crooked, but it actually looks pretty good. It's just a tiny bit crooked this way, but the steering column is a little bit offset on this cart, so right now it doesn't look too bad. The only thing is, I do wish that this sat a little bit farther forward to come down into this plastic piece there, but with the way that these mounts are, it's a little bit short, and once I bent them, it actually pulled this back a little bit. So all in all, it's not bad for the amount of work that I had to do to make those mounts from the other body work. I'm actually pretty happy with it. The next thing I'm going to have to do is sit in it and see if it obstructs any of my movements in the cart. I know this pedal's a little bit close here, so I got to see how that works once I'm actually sitting in the cart. And then we'll go from there and eventually get this front part mounted on. So guys, this is the view from in the cart right now. These metal bands actually don't really interfere at all with my legs, which is perfect. That brake pedal definitely is a little bit close to that driver's panel right there, so I got to decide if I want to do anything about it. I definitely still have full use of it, but my foot does rub on it just a little bit when I'm using it. Alright, so I decided I actually do want to get this up a little bit so I have some clearance for my foot on that pedal. But the way I'm going to mount this is I'm going to use one of these clamps right here, put it around this bar, and then run a piece of aluminum from the clamp up to the nose, and then I'll bolt it in place there, bolt through that clamp, and the thing should be good to go. It's probably going to end up sitting sort of like this, so I'll probably make a spacer to go there just to make it look a little bit cleaner. But all things considered, it's still going to look pretty good, and I'm going to be pretty happy with it. Here's the piece of aluminum I'm going to use. I'm just going to open up that hole a little bit. And it is a little bit close to the edge there, but I think it should be alright for this application. Here's how this thing's going to work here. It's actually way sturdier than I thought it was going to be, and it's going to be perfect for this application. So the next thing I have to do is cut this and bend it a little bit to match up with this driver's panel once I set it down, and then drill a hole in this, drill a hole in that aluminum, put a bolt through it, and that thing is going to be mounted. Here's my fancy jig to figure out how tall this thing has to be, and honestly I think right about, let's see, I think a little bit forward and a little bit down right there is going to be perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that, and then we'll get this thing all set. So guys, here she is. So I made that bracket. Right now it's not tight yet, and honestly this gap right here doesn't look as bad as I thought it was gonna, and I actually sort of like it with that whole panel sitting a little bit higher. So For this bracket itself, all I did was cut that piece of aluminum, drill the 2 holes in it, and put that little bend in it to line up with this body. And it looks pretty good, and it's going to work out really well. So I'm just going to tighten everything, and then I'll show you how it looks. Okay, so everything is on and tight, and honestly, like I said, I like the look of that nose piece a lot better than I thought I would. Even with that gap between the nose and the driver's panel, I think it looks pretty good. It was really, really simple to install, and this thing is sturdy now. So I'm quite happy with it. That's going to wrap up this episode of building this cart. If you're curious in how I installed the body kit and how I assembled the brake systems, you could check those out in episodes 1 and 2. And in the upcoming episodes, I'm going to be installing a homemade graphics kit on this cart and also finally putting an engine on, and I cannot wait to drive this thing. So please like this video if you liked it, subscribe for more, and I hope you stick around for the next one. Take care.